That's right. I said live and in living color. Now, as you see, this is not moving as much as it should. This is the speaker, the one on the computer. That's why y'all been not hearing my voice as much as you should. Now, that's okay, because I don't care. Because, Jimmy, he keeps cracking cone. And y'all better be glad that's all he's cracking. I think he's on crack, if you ask me. All right, let's go to the 12-inch disco mix. Oh, I wonder why. Do y'all wonder why? Okay, so while we wonder why, let's go ahead and introduce y'all to why we're doing this particular video. Now, the title gives you a hint, but let me prove to you that all homes are insured by the United States government. We're going to increase the size of things. Okay, you see, the single family direct endorsement program. What's the direct endorsement program? Well, it says where the holder of the insured note is to endorse the note, blah, 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 paid to the order of the United States of America without recourse. Okay, remember, this is HUD, H-U-D, standing for Housing Urban Development. And you're going to see how HUD, which was created by operation of law. What law was that? That was the HUD Act. What law is that? I just said the HUD Act. No, what actual law was that? Oh, you're talking about the Housing Act of 1949. Oh, is that it? That's it. Thank you. You're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, HUD, created by operation of law, the so-called Housing Act of 1949. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember the lawsuit that the government's filed against the banks? Did you remember how it did not cover HUD homes, Sallie Mae, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why is because a HUD loan is a government loan. Farm Housing Administration. Direct endorsement. You saw the lawsuits we had about the Farm Housing Administration. You see, insures more than one-third of one-third of the loans. HUD created the FHA Direct Endorsement Program to help lenders. Wait, Federal Housing Administration. Ladies and gentlemen, HUD created the Federal Housing Administration Endorsement Program to help lenders. What does that give them the ability of doing? Well, remember how all of you were sending in your loans paid to the order of the United States of America without recourse? Well, you were interfering with Title 24 CFR. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, I have not gone over this information. I'd only typed the information in and I left it on my computer for the last 3 weeks. I have not tapped into this information, haven't done any research on it. I figured I'd do the research when I did the video. Okay, let's do this so you understand. See? 24 CFR 203.5. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you your remedy is in 24 CFR. Because that's the Housing Urban Development Act. 24 CFR. Okay, pay attention. Lender approval and direct endorsement. Direct endorsement underwriting. The Federal Housing Administration program for single-family real estate lending are established by, ladies and gentlemen, all of your homes are single-family home loans. Go ahead, take a look at your mortgage. The mortgage actual document that you get from the banks is a single-family mortgage document from HUD. All of you have a HUD 1 form associated with your mortgages. Okay, the technical staff utilized in the direct endorsement program by the mortgagee, the banks, with the requirements of a single-family direct endorsement program. You guys remember me telling you about the single family housing home loan guarantee program? Single family home loan guarantee program. Okay? Single family. That's what this is all about. Now, wait. Like I said, this is what I wasn't going to show you this. See? FHA, Federal Housing Administration, direct endorsement. Okay, Farm Housing Administration is also that's FHMA. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please understand. Let me prove to you what's going on. Don't let me just talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been working on foreclosures. Did you know that there's an actual Foreclosure Act? Of course, if there is a word, there is an act instigated by Congress. What reference? That word. Really? Really? Oh my God. I wonder why. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see. I'm every man. It's all in me. Okay. I know my songs, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let's get back to reality. Gotta get rid of all this. This is ESET. Now, what I want you all to see, I'm running Advanced Systems Care. Okay, so we're running Advanced Systems Care plus the malware fighter from Advanced Systems Care, because this is the Advanced Systems Care. Says it, brand in the background, and finished. And we're running ESET. This is ESET. And we're running 360 Total Security. 3 virus scanners! I haven't run 3 virus scanners in the past, but I'm doing it for the first time. Let me tell you, you heard the thing, you can't run more than 1 virus scanner at a time. The reason why is because the virus scan companies, they don't like it. They want the money, so they want you to go with one or the other. And their things really have a problem dealing with each other. Alright, I got some work I need to do, so this video won't be much longer because I have to get started on that work. Man, I wish I could explain it all to you, but ladies and gentlemen, I can't. We're going to do the attorney-client privilege thing regarding the lawsuit because we are coming up with a different angle. But let's deal with this right here. 12 USC or US Code 3751. Findings and purpose. Findings and purpose for what? Regarding the Federal Foreclosure Act. What? The Federal Foreclosure Act? That's right. The Federal Foreclosure Act. Every state has a Foreclosure Act. The federal government has a Foreclosure Act. It's called, what's it called? Well, if you give me a second, I'll tell you. Well, you just said the Federal Foreclosure Act. Well, it's actually called, okay, what's it called? If you give me a second, I gave you a second, you just paused. Well, I paused because I wanted to give you the shocking effect. Okay, I'm shocked that you didn't go ahead and say it. Would you just say it? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is the non-judicial Foreclosure Act. The Federal Non-Judicial Foreclosure Act. Nah, you're joking. It can't be called that. That's just some name you made up. I could tell you were thinking about it as you were saying it. You could tell that, huh? Yep, I could tell. The Uniform Non-Judicial Foreclosure Act. See, I told you it wasn't called federal. Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, it's called the Uniform Non-Judicial Foreclosure Act. It's administrative. Okay? Now, the Uniform Non-Judicial Foreclosure Act, you just type that in and you can actually pull up in the document entitled for Non-Judicial Foreclosure Act for non-homestead. Okay? Alright, let's go back to the code, shall we? 12 USC 3751. Every woman, I'm every woman. Shaka-ka. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out about this Uniform Non-Judicial Foreclosure Act. This is what the Act's findings are. That Congress finds that, well, Congress found something? Man, that's amazing. They can't even find a crack up their... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me continue. Finding that Congress finds that the desperate state laws under which mortgage are foreclosed on behalf of the Secretary covering 1 to 4 family residential properties. Ladies and gentlemen, who's the Secretary? Madam Secretary, Mr. Secretary, Sir Secretary. Look, let's do this. Regulations. I don't want regulations. Separability. Don't want separability. Computation of time. Don't want computation of time. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be present. Record of foreclosure sale. Like I said, this is the Foreclosure Act. I think we're gonna have to go all the way to 3700. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Chapter 38. Multifamily mortgage foreclosure. Do you see that? Chapter 38. Title 12, Chapter 38 is the multifamily mortgage foreclosure. Now, remember, you have the multifamily and the single family. Okay? They have an act for that. They have an act for that? They have an act for that. Okay? Oh my God. You have one of your own, huh? Now, the only problem is I was doing this to find out who the Secretary was. But you know what? I can't find out who the Secretary is for a very good reason. Do you know what that reason is? I don't know. Well, the reason is because I don't know where to go. I thought I could go to the beginning of the act. Usually they give you the definitions, but ladies and gentlemen, these definitions don't tell you about the Secretary. Oh! Wait, I know how to find the Secretary. Do you know how to find the Secretary? Can anybody tell me how to find the Secretary? Yeah, we go 1, 2, USC. Let's find out who the Secretary. Secretary of Housing Urban Development. Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary of Housing Urban Development, 1701C. The Secretary of Housing Urban Development. There's a problem. Ladies, there's a problem. Gentlemen, there's a problem. Because Federal Home Loan Bank Board. Federal Home Loan Bank Board, the Secretary of Housing Urban Development. Duties of the Secretary and Federal, pay attention. Additional powers and duties of Secretary and Federal Home Loan Bank Board, the Secretary of the Housing and Urban Development. Please understand, there are 2 secretaries here, not just one, and we're not talking about the Federal Home Loan Bank Secretary. There are 2 secretaries here. There are 2 secretaries? There's 2 secretaries. Secretaries? Yes, because you all need to understand. Now, notice what it says. Employment personnel, delegations of functions. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development may appoint such officers and employees as he may find necessary, which appointment shall be subject to the civil service laws and Chapter 51 of Subchapter 3 of Chapter 53 of Title 5. Title 5. What's Title 5? Title 5, ladies and gentlemen, is the Administrative Procedures Act. The Administrative Procedures Act? Is that what you're always talking about? That's right. It's called Title 5 in code, but it's the Administrative Procedures Act so that you understand that this is all administrative. Oh, look at that. Do you see that word right there? Administrative. That's right. It's all administrative. That's what they're doing. They're administrating government, just like they administrate justice. Do they administrate justice? No, but they like to say they do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we got what we need. Do you see this? Prerequisites to foreclosure, notice of default and foreclosure sale, conditions and terms of sale, commencement of foreclosure, powers and duties of foreclosure commissioner, and substitute. Those of you in non-judicial states, have you contacted the foreclosure commissioner and let them know that you demanded that they validate the debt and they've not validated the debt and they proceeded with the foreclosure when the law prohibits them from proceeding with any debt collection activities while the debt has been disputed and they have not provided what is required by law? Validation? Well, you should. Call the commissioner of foreclosures. You'll have to do the research on that. Service and notice of default, foreclosure sale, pre-sale reinstatement, foreclosure sale, foreclosure costs, disposition of sale proceeds. Now, pay attention. Foreclosure sale, foreclosure costs. Okay, record of foreclosure and sale, computation of time, separability, regulations. Now, let me tell you what's going on because let me tell you that you guys don't realize what's going on. So we're gonna help you realize what's going on. We gotta go back though. Back. No, we still gotta go back. That's 1315, 1351. We're supposed to be going to 1351. 3751, excuse me. Dum. Come on, y'all. I want your love. No, of your love, just a touch of your love. Just a touch of love, a little bit. Just a touch of love. Makes me shine just a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just a touch of your love. I like the song, okay? Grew up in that time period. Findings. Now, we have the Secretary of Housing Urban Development. This all deals with HUD. I told you in one of our previous videos, and this new site is gonna get a little bit more to the point, but it's gonna tend to be done along the same line, but we're gonna try to deliver newer information that we have not covered before. We told you that we could prove that all homes are insured by the government. We can do it for you to prove it in court. The way you do it is you just say, my home loan was a HUD loan, which means that it is insured by the government because HUD is a government agency. And as a government agency, it's an instrumentality of the government, which means that it is shouted and shielded by the full faith and credit as well as the immunity clause of the Constitution. Okay? HUD. If your home is a HUD loan, that means that it has a government guarantee. Not because it's part of the Single Family Home Loan Guarantee Program. Okay, no, not because it's part of any program, but because it's a HUD loan. That means the government is associated with that loan, which means that it is backed and secured by the government. Okay, let's continue. United States findings of Congress finds that this state laws under which mortgages are foreclosed on behalf of the Secretary covering 1 to 4 family residential properties burdens a certain program administered by the Secretary of Housing Urban Development increase the cost of collection obligations. Who's collecting? Housing Urban Development. And states generally are a detriment to the community. Gotta get rid of this thing. Gotta get rid of you. Alright, generally are a detriment to the community in which the properties are located. Number 2, the long periods required to complete foreclosure of such mortgages under certain state laws A. lead to the deterioration in the condition of the properties involved. Wrong. Because the banks, when they foreclose on a property, they are required to maintain that property. Because, of course, that's how they're getting the properties. Is because they're claiming they're maintaining them. Excuse me. Necessitates substantial federal holding expenditures. Federal holding expenditures? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the properties are still owned by the government. Federal holding expenditures. But you're going to see the whole game in just a minute. We're going to explain to you exactly how the system is operating and why it's illegal. C. Increase the risk of vandalism, fire loss, depreciation, damage, and waste with respect to the property, and adversely affects the neighborhood in which the properties are located. Number 3. These conditions seriously impair the ability of the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development to protect the federally financial interests. The federal financial interests? You mean to tell me the federal government has a financial interest in foreclosed properties? In the affected properties and frustrate attainment of the objectives of the underlying federal program authority. So the House is part of the federal program. Interesting. Number 4. The ability of uniform and more expeditious, same thing, with no rights of redemption in the mortgagor or others. For the foreclosure of these mortgages by the Secretary will tend to ameliorate these conditions and providing the Secretary with a non-judicial foreclosure procedure to reduce unnecessary litigation by removing many foreclosures from courts if they contribute to overcrowded calendars. Yes, what they did is they said, we're going to take away your right to go to court, and we're just going to create a policy, an administrative policy. Pay attention. Number 5, purpose. The purpose of this chapter is to create a uniform federal foreclosure remedy for single-family mortgages that are held by the Secretary pursuant to Title I or Title II of the National Housing Act 1949, 12 U.S.C. 1702, and extended to sequence 1707. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, secure loans obligated by the Secretary under 1452B. Well, let's see, what's 1452B? I haven't looked this up before, but I figured, see reference text note above. What do you mean, see reference text note above? Oh, that's right, it sent me to the reference because I clicked on the reference instead of, under Title 42. I don't have time for Title 42. That's also a housing act. I ain't got time for Title 42. Okay. 42 USC 1452. Should be 1452B. Yeah, see provisions of the Fair Housing Act. Okay. Let's do B. And repeal. Repealed. Wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. Gotta put some in it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been repealed. Secure loans. Let's find out when it was repealed. When was this law enacted? I don't know. I didn't ask you. Yes, you did. You said when was it enacted? I was asking myself. Oh, didn't sound like it. Let's look at some notes. Notes. See? 48 stat. 1246. Look at that. The National Housing Act of June 27, 1934. Isn't that the time that the people gave up all of their stuff to the government? 48 stat. Did you see 48 stat right there? Means it's part of the same congressional session. Looks like we done stumbled onto some snippets. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is just the notes. Okay? What I want, and all I needed, was for us to get the so-called year that act was introduced. So, notice, effective date, 1994. Still, 1994. 1994, enacted, 1994. Now this one says 103,327. So let's see if it's 103,327. Not here. We got to go back to the other one. We got to go back. Nope, not the same one. Oh no, God, we got to block that. Can't have you just popping up windows just to be popping them up. Let's do Title 42. Public Health and Welfare Chapter, Slum Clearance, Urban Renewal, and Farm Housing Subchapter, Slum Clearance and Urban Renewal. Ladies and gentlemen, urban renewal projects, demolition programs, and code enforcement programs. Okay? Code enforcement. Do you see that? And this is the slum issue. Now remember, this is Title 5, Government, Organization, and Employees, because government is administrative. Wait a minute. I think this says it. Y'all know this song, don't y'all? Block. Wait a minute. Did it take me back? Yeah, it took me back. I gotta go back to Title 4. Alright, I'll let it happen this one time. Now, what I want you guys to understand, there were people who went into court talking about the gold fringe flag. Y'all remember that, don't y'all? It's got a gold fringe. That means that you're in admiralty court. You're not in a real court. You're stupid, is what the judge would say. Okay? Now, we need to talk about the fringe. So let me see if it, and then we're going to get back to what we were talking about. It doesn't talk about the fringe. No. Advertising, additional stars. It doesn't talk about the fringe. The seal, the states, the official territorial papers, the seat of government. Well, the United States, Washington, D.C. is the permanent seat of government for the United States. That my grandmama can tell you. Let's do text. I'm looking. Dagnabbit, I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for. Okay, when you do the Constitution and you do the gold fringe flag, or you do the flag, Title 4, and you do the case law. Let's do it real quick, okay? Especially like the Department of Defense part, because that was part of the judicial decision to prove that the gold fringe flag is not part of the United States. Okay, that it is foreign to the United States. Watch this real quickly. GOLDFRINGE FLAG. Let's bring say she freak out. Okay, watch this. We're gonna do this article may have it. Get the gold fringe off my flag. It's not your flag, moron. This is not the flag of the American people. This is not the flag of any individual. The case law, the judge said that the argument that the flag's gold fringe was unlawful and created some sort of foreign jurisdiction. The judge actually said that was a frivolous argument. So let's notice what the Attorney General, in the opinion of the Attorney General, 34, opinion, Attorney General, Section 83. Let's see what the Attorney General said. Okay. let's do it like that. Martial law flag. That's not what it says. Military flag with the gold fringe. Notice what it says. Pursuant to 4 U.S.C. Chapter 1, subsection 1, 2, and 3, Executive Order 10834, and August 21st, 1959, and 24 Federal Regulations, or Federal Registry, 6865. A military flag is a flag that resembles the regular flag of the United States, except that it has a yellow fringe borders on 3 sides. The President of the United States designates this deviation from the regular flag by executive order in his capacity as Commander-in-Chief of the military by placing a fringe on the national flag. The dimensions of the flag and the arrangement of the stars in the Union are matters of detail not controlled by statute, but are within the discretion of the President as Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy. This is actually in the case law for the very same laws where they say that the so-called flag argument is frivolous. Ladies and gentlemen, if the President does it under his title of Commander-in-Chief, the military is foreign to the United States. That's why no military base can ever be on U.S. soil. It has to be on foreign territory, sovereign territory. Why? Because the military, by Constitution, is there to protect against invasion. It cannot be on American soil because it has to protect against. You can't do the protection against if you're already inside. You have to protect from the outside. So that's why no military base on American soil. All right? Every military base is its own country. I didn't say that. This was the arrangement from the beginning. Okay? And the person doing this site, I'm going to give them some credit because they actually did their research. Okay? Flags, gold fringe flag. But I didn't read all of this stuff up here because that stuff is not the important stuff. This is actually the law that's within the actual court cases and in the annotation. That's why I did annotated. Okay? Annotated meaning court case law associated. Okay? The American Patriot Network. Or excuse me, American Patriot Friends Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stop using words like that. That's how they call people sovereign citizens, is because they got used to saying the word patriot. Yeah, I know. But they can use it, we can't. That's absolutely correct. You can't do what they do. They get very, 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 very upset. So stop it. Stop trying to do what they do. Okay. Heart is not a home. I'm trying to find my way back home. Oh, I'm really sorry. This is called Working My Way Back. It's by the Spinners. And that's what they want to tell y'all, what they're trying to do. What a burning love inside. You said what? Now, let me explain something else about this. Let's get back to the National Housing Act, ladies and gentlemen. The National Housing Act is of 1934. The Housing Act continues to be redone 1939, 1949, okay, 1980, 2008. They keep adding to the Housing Act. So you'll see Housing Act of this year, Housing Act of that year. Please understand, it all started here with this Housing Act. Okay? This is where your remedy is, because this is what they're following. Do you understand that, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see what I'm saying? And look at it says 1452B of Title 42 referred to in subsection was repealed, publication, blah, 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 November 28, 1990. Okay? But please understand, this title enacting this chapter may be cited as the Single Family Mortgage Foreclosure Act of 1994. But remember, this act said it got its power from, where is it at? this right here, which was repealed 4 years before. This is how stupid they are. But we're not there yet. I told you new information, so here we go. This is the authority, CFR, 24 CFR. That is the Housing Urban Development Act. That's the codified version. Ladies and gentlemen, CFR is administrative case law. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, CFR is created as a result of Title V, the Administrative Procedures Act. See, non-judicial foreclosures of multifamily and single-family mortgages. This is the codification of that. This is the administrative process. I promise you, if you go over it, you'll find your remedy. See, they have multifamily, which is complexes such as apartment buildings, anywhere from 5 units to 800 billion. And then you have non-judicial foreclosure of single-family mortgages. That's any amount of units, including a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex, fourplex, threeplex, or a fiveplex. Okay, singplex. I made that up. Sounds like it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go here. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry for so long. Oh, please. Come on. Won't you forgive me? Sorry. I gotta get back to this explanation. Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. 27.100. So this is Title 24, CFR 27.100. Purpose and scope and applicability. The purpose of this subpart is to implement requirements for the administration of the Single-Family Mortgage Foreclosure Act of 1994. The statute 12 U.S.C. 3751 through 3768, 3751 through 3768, that clarify or are in addition to the requirements obtained in the statute, which are not republished here and must be consulted in conjunction with the requirements in this subpart. Ladies and gentlemen, what they're saying is you have to bring both of them together. Title 24 CFR, Title 12, 3751 U.S. Code. You got to use both of them in conjunction with each other. Together. Scope. The Secretary of Housing Urban Development may foreclose on any defaulted single-family mortgage described in statute, regardless of when the mortgage was executed. I want you to hold on to this. Hey, spinners, get away! They let it get away. Oh, come on now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the original. The original, he is up on Saturn with the note. But right now, he ain't on Saturn. He at the bottom of the flat earth. Oh, I'm just so disappointed they didn't hit the actual note. Gotta pause that. Ladies and gentlemen, will he ever learn? Why is he still playing music on his videos? Doesn't he know Google is gonna shut him down? Well, actually, I am very interested in Google playing again, which is why we're doing it all over again. See, we need to prove that they are very selective. Let me see if I can show you what we're proving with Google. I don't mind them knowing. It's a little too late. They can't do anything about it. That's the unique thing. Okay? This is from Rhino, UK. Ladies and gentlemen, this is copywritten material. How do we know this is copywritten material? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Let's go here. Standard YouTube license, category music, disco. Ladies and gentlemen, he even tells people where they can go on Amazon to buy what he's producing here from Amazon. Okay, published October 17, 2013. You see, YouTube wants to penalize me from playing people's music in the background that's being put on a public forum, such as YouTube. The unique thing is when you look at the Fair Use Act, it says that precisely for educational purposes, I can utilize copywritten work. Now, as you see, I give the characters, the stars, their credit. Now, that's not anything other than to say the money that those companies are doing by holding on to the music and republishing it and marketing it, that's not going to the artists. It's not going to the artist's family. Only a percentage of that, it's called royalties. And out of 100%, the actual artists who did all the work, did all the touring, did all the singing and dancing and being on stage, they are getting less than 15%, while the industry is getting, what's that? Did you say 85%? What the? Okay. But let's get back to this. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to read this whole act because this whole act means a lot, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. I turned off the volume because I want to be able to talk to you. Come and talk to me. Okay? I'm even turning up the volume because I need to talk to you. Okay? Can we talk for a minute? All right, ladies and gentlemen, ladies, let's do this. Scope. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development may foreclose on any defaulted single-family mortgage described in the statute, regardless of when the mortgage was executed. So please understand what's going on so that you get it. Every single mortgage that's being foreclosed on, where you see at the bottom of the mortgage docs that it's part of the single family program, it says it right there on all your forms. It says single family. And even if it doesn't say it, if HUD is associated with your loan, you're part of the single family program. Uh-oh, got a phone call coming in. Give me a second. We gonna send them the voicemail. This is Saturday. Ain't nobody supposed to be calling me on no Saturday. This is my day. This ain't like Dre Day. Okay, because I do Easy E on Dre Day. But this is my day. Well, anyway, let's get back to this. All of the homes, ladies and gentlemen, out there are government insured. But remember, we told you the government owns all homes and all home loans. Well, remember, the secretary is the one foreclosing. What secretary? Housing Urban Development. Pay attention. Oh, I thought you were talking about a different secretary because you said there's another secretary. Well, I ain't talking about that secretary right now. Well, just be a little bit more specific. I'm going to be a little bit more specific. Shut up and wait till I finish. As a matter of fact, I'm muting you. This is a rhetorical conversation right now. Only I get to speak. Okay, now you're muted. All right, now that we got rid of him. Ladies and gentlemen, all homes are guaranteed by the U.S. government. All home loans, especially when HUD is associated. You remember that lawsuit that the government supposedly brought against the banks? Did you know that it did not cover HUD loans? Fannie Mae, Sallie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae? It didn't cover any of those loans? Then what loans did it cover? That's exactly the point. That's why not a lot of people benefited from that process. This is how they do. This is how we do it. Okay? Just that simple. Hmm. I gotta, I gotta, I gotta get back to the conversation because I don't want to be missing the point or the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go and check something. But while I'm checking something, let's get back to helping you all understand. Uh-oh, I walked too far from the computer, so I apologize for that. It's a signal issue when you get up in this area, but I'm checking something out. So, oh, sorry. It's where I am, it gets a little cold at night. That's right, I said it. It gets a little cold at night. And because it gets a little cold at night, what I had to do is I had to turn the heater off because I'm the only one here for the most part. I don't need the heater. I mean, right now I'm walking with my hands in my pants because it's cold. But I don't need the heater. And I don't need the individual expending more funds because of electricity. So I had to turn it off. But let's get back to your mortgages, shall we? Let me tell you the game. Everybody, would you like to hear the story of the mortgage game and how they've been getting over on you and everyone else all this time? We just showed you that they created what's called a Foreclosure Procedures Act dealing with single family homes, multi-family homes. It doesn't happen that way with businesses. No, just non-judicial when it comes to you and your home loans. Yeah, the government did that to you on purpose because you never had a home loan. Remember, we can already prove through their direct endorsement program that the bank gets compensated because the bank acts as a middleman. The owner of your home, the actual lender, still remains HUD. Now, supposedly, they have a contract with the bank to let the bank begin and commence foreclosure proceedings against you. Yeah, but here's the problem. If the bank is compensated for selling you the loan, because that's what you buy from the bank, you buy a loan. If the bank is compensated for selling you the loan, then technically the bank is acting as a servicer. But then the bank have you do something you don't have to do, but you do it. A deed of trust. So that they could trade your mortgage on the open market. But now the banks are acting as an arm of the federal government. Ladies and gentlemen, once the federal government engages in commercial business activities, they are to be treated as any other corporation. Well, when the banks acting on behalf of the government now takes your loan and they trade it on the market, that's commercial business activity. Then that means that the HUD secretary no longer has jurisdiction as HUD secretary over your loan. They're just a regular corporation. So they have no immunity and they can be sued. That's the first thing. Oh, by the way, some of y'all have been with me for a while and some of y'all new to this. So let's do this like this. Whenever the United States engages in commercial business, it's to be treated as any other corporation. Dragon naturally speaking, y'all. I'm updating some files, so y'all excuse me and Dragon. All right, whenever the United States engages in commercial business. Okay, the law is whenever the United States engages in commercial business, it abandons its sovereign capacity and is to be treated as any other corporation. This is the law we're looking for. Thank you for correcting that for me, Google. Okay. This is where we're going to go. How to avoid commercial traffic contracts. We're just looking for this law right here. Conscientious evolution. Oh God, is there a conscientious evolution revolution going on? Oh my stars. All right, I'm just looking for whenever. Okay. I don't care about no citizenship. And ladies and gentlemen, whoa. Oh God. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the argument I created. This was what I was, watch, and I'll prove it to you. I's gonna prove it, I's gonna prove it, I's gonna prove it. Let's get this copywritten thing at the bottom of the page. Oh, no claim to ownership. Interesting. And then he puts the Fair Use Act. This site contains copywritten material. Of course it contains copywritten material. That information, ladies and gentlemen, that we were just reading came from me. I'm the one, that was my argument. But I'm glad that this person got it. I'm just trying to see when they got it. I don't see a date. There we go, 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, it was 2015 where I was bringing forth that information and about the bounties and services and getting them for insurrection and rebellion and the commercial business activities, putting up that information about whenever, oh, and look at that, corpus juris secundum. Interesting. This is where it talks about commercial business activities, section 38 and 41, where the Supreme Court stated that whenever the United States, a body public, corporate, body politic, okay, engages in commercial business, it abandons its sovereign capacity and is to be treated as any other corporation. Okay? That means any agency of the United States. They are not allowed to engage in commercial business activities. I thought they were actually going to put the law here, which is why I give this person no credit. They were just quoting from me as opposed to doing the research themselves. So I'm not happy. Not happy in the least. Okay, but we're going to go down and see if we see. We got casetext.com. This we're going to go because this is actually from the case law. It's really from the case law? It's really from the case law. Carver versus Hines. Is that like Gregory Hines? I don't know. Oh, it would be so interesting. It was 1940. For personal injury, that could be Gregory Hines. Well, let's see the name of the party since you want to be like that. Robert Young Hines. Now leave it alone. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, didn't I have you on mute? Sorry about that, folks. All right, let's get back to
I know, strange, isn't it?
Let's get back to what we were talking about. I just want you to see the courts saying it. Then I'm going to explain it. And then I'm going to explain to you how all of this comes together. Now, we have right here, particular corporations was engaged in industrial and commercial ventures and said the government agencies should, whenever it can fairly be drawn from the statutes, be subject to the same liabilities and to the same tribunals as other persons or corporations similarly employed. This is what the federal courts have said. Okay? Now, I'm looking for whenever they engage in commercial business, that they abandon their sovereign capacity. That means it's a willful act. That means that they have said, you don't need our permission to sue you. We have waived sovereign immunity. That's what I'm getting ready to explain to you. So if you all would be just a little bit patient with me, okay? Let's do it again. The influence of the defendants is subject to suit supported by the fact that its creator, the Reconstruction Finance Corporation, is itself subject to suit. The theory on which immunity is sustained is that the creator has transmitted to the creature its sovereign immunity. The government withheld such immunity from the Reconstruction Finance Corporation. It thus indicated general policy in subjecting the Reconstruction Finance Company and its property to suit in judicial process. Okay, that's where it says that they don't have the right. But the court is going to talk about the commercial business activities, and that's what I'm looking for. So I haven't read this before. Okay, I have not read this before, but you better believe I'm going to use it. You better believe, because this is the work that I'm doing today, and the information I just found out today, including this information we're talking about right now, helps me out a lot. Because here is the general, and that's where we are. Pay attention to this. In Kiefer case, we do not find it necessary to trace the origin of the doctrine of exceptional freedom of the United States from legal responsibility, but we observe because the doctrine gives the government a privileged position, it has been appropriately confined. Hence, we declare that the government does not become a conduit of its immunity in suit against its agents or instrumentality merely because they do its work. Recognizing that Congress may endow governmental corporations with government immunity, we found the question to be, has it done so? Starting from the premise indicated in Kiefer's case, the waiver by Congress of governmental immunity from suit should be liberally construed in the case of federal instrumentalities, that being in line with the current disfavor of the doctrine of governmental immunity. Now, what do they conclude? Well, they're talking about to sue or be sued. So now we're going to get to engaging, because we have the court reached the same conclusion in Federal Housing Administration versus Barr. So, ladies and gentlemen, aren't we talking about the Federal Housing Administration? I'm so glad that everything is coming together for you. Y'all just hold on, because we ain't even got to them abandoning their capacity. I think we are almost there. It will be noted that in all of the decisions in which the courts have held an agency or instrumentality of the government as liable, the agency or instrumentality of the government was carrying on commercial business or enterprise. Now pay attention, isn't that the subject here? We're saying that they can be held liable if they carry on commercial business or enterprise. And also, in each instance, Congress had provided that the agency or instrumentality or corporation could be sued or could sue. In the instance, now we want that paragraph, we want to highlight that one because that's our friend, okay? But I'm looking at the whenever they engage in commercial business activity, they abandon their sovereign capacity. and I haven't seen it yet, and maybe we have gone by it. I don't see it, but we're almost to the bottom. So what I'm going to have to do, I don't see it. Yeah, I know it's here because everything that we just talked about is here. So let me show you, because I need this case law. So we go all the way up. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick 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 tock. Okay, got a copy. Control C and THT. You guys heard of THT? It's the movie theaters. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's another one of those cases right there that I had. And we're going to put this case here. Control V. Now, you see what I just did right there? Now, we can't just go there too soon. We got to go back just for a second. Okay. Uh-oh. Copy. Get rid of that. And now we're going to find. And we're going to paste. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's see. We get rid of that. Okay, this is the case. This is where we're going. Okay. Now, I want you to pay attention. This is this case. We need to check. So let's go back here. And let's go forward. We need to check to see what day this case was. Oh, I think it did say 1949 or something like that. So 1941. Okay, see, and it's California. The District Court, California. Southern District, Los Angeles. That's right, we did see Los Angeles, didn't we? Administrator, administration, or as they say in Espanol, administration. Let's see, where's Los Angeles? There we go. County of Los Angeles, State of California. So it is the Los Angeles District, Federal District Court, and O'Connor. Y'all remember Sinead? I know, this is the O'Connor who played Archie Bunker. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's give you what you need. Then we're going to finish this so that we can get on to what we need to do today. But I promise you the case law that I have in front of you will prove very instrumental. In Salas versus United States Supreme Court was a criminal action. The court discussed the status of Panama Railroad Company and said, the government, however, continued the original corporate organization of the railroad company for its own purposes. Among others, it avoided the restriction of certain laws of the United States applicable to the commission. When the United States enters into business, commercial business, it abandons its sovereign capacity and is to be treated like any other corporation. See the Bank of the United States versus Planters Bank, Wheat 904-6 LED. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please understand, whenever the United States or any government organization engages in commercial business activity, they willfully agree to be sued and or to sue. They consent. Why? Because they abandon sovereign immunity, which means they've consented to be sued. You just have to know how to understand the legalese, what they're actually saying. And I can assure you that that is what the Supreme Court was saying in these several cases. Okay? That's why I could type in the information when they do that. So let's get back to HUD, how they have no sovereign immunity. Let's get back to how none of the government entities involved in mortgages that are traded on the market have any sovereign immunity. Because to trade it on the market is to gamble. There is no authority to gamble with the people's money. And trading stock, government stock, on the market is commercial business activities. They have no sovereign immunity. Each one of those cases where the person was told that they could not sue this person, this corporation, that person because they had sovereign immunity, you did not rebut the stupid presumption by saying, oh no, they couldn't have had sovereign immunity. They were engaged in commercial business activity. And it is a well-known fact that anytime the United States engages in commercial business activity, it willfully consents to being sued because it abandons its sovereign capacity, i.e., construed as willful consent, knowing an intentional waiver of right. That's what they're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea. This is what I've been going over all morning. I've been calling people, telling people about this. Yesterday and today, my mind has been on this all morning because I had to formulate this understanding in my own head. Although I already had this understanding, I did not have the understanding, especially when it comes to your homes. So let me tell you what HUD does not have the right to do. HUD cannot lend you Federal Reserve notes. You didn't hear me. So let me say it again. It is against the law for the federal government to issue you legal tender and call it a loan. Legal tender can only be used, as it says on the dollar bill, for the payment of all debts, both public and private. Well, your debt, your loan, is not a public debt. If it were, then you could not be foreclosed on. That's the first thing. Hold that thought. Now, I will prove to you that the whole mortgage industry is a sham, a scam, a fallacy. The United States government, under HUD, under its secretary, says to be in control of all single-family mortgages, whether they're multi or single. They are said to be the ones in control. Then they allow the bank to, quote-unquote, sell the house to you. Well, if they allow the bank to sell the house to you, then your income should never matter because there is no money. But that's not the case. We're not arguing that. Let's just say the banks sell you the house. And they do so, and HUD compensates the bank. But do you know? They compensate them at par value. So start suing people and get the finances. I'm giving you the laws that you should be using, including the so-called federal and your state Foreclosure Act. Get the finances. You have every right to prove that the bank received compensation. You have every right to prove that the government did not pay a dime. Now, here is the number one point. I'm sorry it took me so long to get here, But it did take me so long to get to this point mentally. Ladies and gentlemen, the banks are trading the properties on the open market. And then they're foreclosing on these very same properties that they're trading, which means the federal government is still claiming ownership of these very same properties, which means that since the banks are operating as an arm of the government, they are claiming to be involved in commercial business. They can't do that. But no. HUD is sitting there allowing these homes to be traded on the market. That means that HUD is getting a financial benefit from these homes being traded on the market. And they're not crediting your account. Again, the government can't engage in commercial business. Ever. There is no exception. Government can never engage in commercial business because that is equating to gambling with the people's money, and there has never been, nor could there ever be any consent to Congress to permit such. Okay? Just that simple. So, the banks now come and they foreclose on the property. Then the banks take and they have an auction. And what they do is they offer up what they refer to as the highest bid. And they purchase the home themselves. What do they do now? Well, here's the thing. They're doing that on behalf of the government. They're now telling you you owe that money. And then they take this home that they just purchased, claiming that they own it free and clear. And then what do? They resell it to someone else who takes out another HUD loan for where HUD claims that it owns the loan. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see the perpetuation? How this is supposed to go on and on and on, and how HUD is involved every single time? Then why is there a national deficit? There shouldn't be. Look at all the monies the banks are making. So, you need to request the finances. If the banks are foreclosing on you, selling the home, and then leaving you with the balance, claiming that you need to pay that balance, and then, wait. They show up in court not saying that they represent the government. No, they say they represent who? The investor. Are you paying attention? That means the government is the investor, or one of them. Commercial business activity. Ladies and gentlemen, it's illegal for them to do that because the Truth in Lending Act prohibits them from doing that, which means they have just committed a felony. They have violated the Truth in Lending Act. They have perjured themselves. That's right, the government can't lie to you. Well, the government lies to people all the time. No. Their agents do. The government cannot lie to you. Even if it's in the interest of public interest, they cannot lie to the public because they represent the public. Well, the public lie to themselves all the time. Okay. All right, enough said. I guess they can lie. If the public lies, government can lie too. So what do? Well, we now have a different understanding. We've been going into court with the wrong arguments. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, they did everything they were supposed to do. I just showed you the process. The bank is not lending you any monies. HUD is claiming they are giving you a loan. But no monies are ever lent to you, deposited into your account, because if the government was lending that money, then that money would have to be what is referred to as lawful money. But they can't do that because there can only be what is it, 300 million pieces of lawful money out there. So something is wrong. I know some of you are going to pay attention to this video. Some of you are going to get the information that I'm pointing out. Some of you are going to go over the federal housing acts that I just showed you. Some of you are going to go over, and I know you're going to do it, you're going to go over the federal foreclosure act. Some of you are going to do that, and you're going to get credit from me. I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to say, hey, give that fool some credit. That's right. I'm going to say that. Sorry. I am in the pantry. Well, this is not the pantry. This is what they call the mud room. I ain't never heard of no mud room, but this is called the mud room. Well, I'm in the mud room, y'all. And in the mud room, I'm sitting up here getting ready to do some pest control tomorrow. Now, y'all have to excuse me while I'm mixing up the controlling pest chemicals. That's right, chemicals. I hate chemicals, ladies and gentlemen. I really, honestly hate chemicals. But the only problem is, didn't have enough time to do the natural thing. I know some of you got opinions. And I know some of you is on that stuff. So keep the bulls to yourself. Don't want to hear it. All right, get back. Why did I mention it? Well, I mentioned it because I felt like it. You got anything else to say? Then keep it to yourself. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are dealing with, I think this is diazinon and melathion. Melathion? That's chemicals. Yeah, melathion. Now, I said diazinon, but I doubt very, very, very seriously if this has diazinon in it. But I do know it's melathion. What I used to do pest control. That was my profession. And in doing pest control, the unique thing about pest control, ladies and gentlemen, is the chemicals change every 3 years. You can't keep using the same chemicals because the insects grow immune to the chemicals. And it takes about 3 years for them to lose the immunity they had for the chemical that was used 3 years prior. Okay, but again, chemicals. Well, let's get back to this mortgage thing so that you guys understand what's going on, because I told you the information will be new information. What's happening is HUD is the key. It's the entire common link, common denominator. All of your homes are HUD homes, which means the government is foreclosing on you. The bank has no standing unless they can show that they have an authorization contract specifically with reference to your loan, because your loan is not just a single family home. No, your loan is a specific, that's right, specific loan. Okay? SPCA, specific. I thought that was like the homeless shelter for animals. No. Oh, it could be, but that's how you will pronounce specific as opposed to Pacific. Like most people want to silence the S, E. Okay? So, SPA, S-P, SPA. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this, now that we understand this, now that we understand that your home is a HUD home, your loan is a HUD loan, now we can kill a lot of arguments of the court. Now that we understand that the HUD is allowing the banks to sit up there and, give me 1 second. Oh, that's this stupid thing. Yeah, it keeps popping up. I don't care about that downloader thing. It doesn't like the serial number. I can get another serial number, but I don't care about it. Anyway, now that we know that HUD is the common denominator and that they are allowing the banks to work these processes out, follow the money. You have a right to prove that no monies were ever lent. The government has no money. It can't lend money. By the way, if the process was exactly as they say it is, that the government is allowing the banks to do this, and that the banks are doing this as an agent for the government, then there is no deficit. Remember, the banks in the last 20 years, with all the mortgage crises and the derivatives and the hedge funds, have made well over $50 trillion in profits off of mortgages. $50 trillion in profits off of mortgages. Ladies and gentlemen, even if the United States had 10% of that, the national deficit would not be where it is. So, somebody's lying. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gents, we gave you an explanation as to the housing acts and the foreclosures, how they all come together, and how you can prove, if you put the information together and do your research, how you don't owe a dime on that home. I'm hoping that some of you who are more research inclined will do the research. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, there have been people, see, this is the Kiefer case they were talking about. There have been people who have listened to some of my videos and they have attained success and they haven't told me. When they do, you all hear me tell you that such and such did such and such, and did you know it worked? Or when they did this, they didn't, and I'll tell you, well, they didn't do this and they didn't do that, and that's why that didn't work. This is the first place where you heard do an unlawful detainer on your birth certificate. Okay? People were talking, well, how do I gain control of my securities? Do an unlawful detainer on your stupid birth certificate. It is land. It is title to property. It is titled to land property. I already did the video showing you that you are land. Okay? Blow into his nostrils.
From the dust of the ground, a man became a living soul.
You are land. That being the case, your birth certificate identifies land. Certificate signifying proof of ownership of property. So do an unlawful detainer on your birth certificate. Now, what I did, yeah, I think we can show you. Give me a second. We're going to go back here. Let's see. I think this is it. Nope, that ain't it. That ain't it. This is it. Corporations. Ladies and gentlemen, we were, oh no, we can't do that one. This is me going to the division of the corporation and setting up a corporation. This was Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, every state has a fictitious name registration. I did mine online, so you want to choose a state where you can do it online. It was only $50. Yeah, the man that doesn't work, has no income. I'm on fumes, but this was necessary.
I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't absolutely necessary.
But if you're going to do the unlawful detainer, my suggestion, my strong suggestion, is in the process of doing unlawful detainer, you have to look for the rules of unlawful detainers in your state. But in the process of doing the unlawful detainer, you also do the name, fictitious name. Okay? Don't worry about the uppercase, lowercase. Do not worry about the uppercase, lowercase. You just want to get control of the name. This is all about gaining control of your securities. I've had several people not happy with me that I've given you guys this information. Now, pay attention. Prior to me saying it, nobody else was talking about doing a so-called unlawful detainer on a birth certificate. Now, hold on. Some of y'all going to say, well, such and such and such and such was talking about this in 2013. And such and such was talking about this back in 2015. Go back to 2011 when we were talking about birth certificates and attaching that to your declaration of executorship. Yes, the declaration of executorship. Go back and listen to the video where I tell you that your birth certificate is proof of ownership of land. Because remember, I was getting ready to do my land patent, and I was getting ready to attach the birth certificate to that. Proof of ownership of land. Been talking about this since 2011. Okay? And people are now just starting to pay attention. You want to gain control of your securities? Do an unlawful detainer on your mother birth certificate. Stop playing these games. Stop listening to all these idiots out there telling you to authenticate this, change this, go get this, you need to pay me this. Stop doing all of that. You ain't got to pay nobody for this. You don't have to pay me. All you have to do is Nike time, people. Let's do Nike. Just do it. That's all you got to do is just do it. Well, how do I do it? Look, you ignorant, stupid mother... I'm sorry. People get offended when I say things like that. That's for the ignorant, stupid mother that I say that. Because I just said you have to look up the unlawful detainers or the unlawful detainers or the eviction process. Why? Because somebody is on your land. Who's on your land? The United States federal government. Remember, the birth certificate is how they're controlling everything. So get control of your birth certificate. Take control of your estate. Did I not promise you I would tell you how to do that? Why did it take you so long? Didn't I put you on mute? I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I'll answer that question. Why did it take me so long? Because too many of you don't want to do the research. Go back and listen to the videos. I've been telling you this stuff step by step. But your videos, they don't follow any certain steps or format or anything. It's kind of hard to keep up. Ladies and gentlemen, my videos are progressive. One video is done after the next video is done after the next video. It's progressive with the line of thinking at the time the video was being done. So of course it follows a logical format. Right now the line of thinking is what? Foreclosures, mortgages, and gaining control of the birth certificate. All the videos talk about that.
Well, they were also talking about the flat earth.
Shut it up. Just shut it up, Gina. All right, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't think that you've gained any information, any knowledge, stop listening to the videos. If you're going to sit back there and wait to see, by the time you catch up, they will have changed the system again to prevent you from doing exactly what we're talking about. Right now, if you get in there with the correct argument, they won't mess with you. And yes, I can prove, as you have seen today, everything I've been talking about. Every step of the way in front of anybody and their grandmama and their stupid judge. Okay, well, I want to thank you all for joining me here today, but now it's time to say goodbye to all of you people. Adios.